Hello there guys, welcome to one of my live videos, and it has been made official that Arsenal Football Club have appointed Mikel Arteta as their new permanent manager to replace Unai Emery. Mikel Arteta has signed a 3.5 year deal with Arsenal to take him under contract with them until 2023, but he did initially say yesterday that is, he was set to be appointed sometime today. I think I think quite a lot of Arsenal fans are satisfied, with the appointment of Mikel Arteta. Do you think he can elevate Arsenal forward? Mikel Arteta, says he hopes that Arsenal, can start competing for big trophies. He's obviously said that Arsenal are one of the biggest clubs in the world. But obviously, Mikel Arteta knows the traditions of the football club, because he served around 5 years as a player for them, made a total of 150 appearances. But I think, from an Arsenal perspective, they'll have some element of concerns. Maybe they think it would be beneficial, if Arsenal, did recommend a number two in, someone to work alongside Mikel Arteta, someone who's got some, managerial experience behind them. Mikel Arteta, hasn't got any managerial experience. He has said his farewell goodbyes to Man City, obviously because he served 3 years at Manchester City as a coaching assistant, working alongside Pep Guardiola. I think it remains uncertain, whether Arteta, will be managing tomorrow or not in Arsenal's game against Everton. I think it did actually say earlier on this week that his first game in charge is Arsenal's game on Boxing Day against Bournemouth and that. But I do believe a lot of Arsenal fans will be happy about this. Lundberg, of course, has been there on an interim basis. Of course, while they have been in search for a permanent manager. But yeah, so it is official now that they have got Mikel Arteta in. Obviously, Arsenal did sack Unai Emery around 3 weeks ago. Arsenal, of course, had explained the couple of reasons why they had sacked Unai Emery, because obviously, it was due to the performances and results, not at the level required. And plus, Arsenal went on a 7-game winless run. So this is why Unai Emery had been sacked, and he was only in charge of Arsenal for around 18 months. I think maybe some Arsenal fans, preference, would have probably been Nuno Santo or maybe Massimiliano Allegri over Mikel Arteta, because obviously, them two managers have got managerial experience. But it'll be interesting to see how Mikel Arteta does. I think Arsenal have had to pay a couple of million in compensation as well to recommend him in for Man City. But they had a lot of negotiations earlier on this week. Pep Guardiola confirmed that he was in negotiations with Arsenal and that, and obviously City have allowed him permission to go to Arsenal. So that it'd be interesting to see how he does. During his playing career, Mikel Arteta had played for a variety of clubs. Obviously began his career with Barcelona. He also played for PSG. He played for Rangers. He played for Real Sociedad. He also enjoyed a 6-year spell with Everton. Like I said, he enjoyed a 5-year spell with Arsenal. But is he the right manager to elevate Arsenal forward in that? Obviously, I don't think he'll follow Arsene Wenger's legacy and that. Because you got to say, Arsene Wenger had a good legacy. He enjoyed, 22 years there with Arsenal. Like I said, he had a good 12 or 13 years with Arsenal. But after that, it all went wrong, basically. Arsenal should have really got rid of Arsene Wenger at an earlier point. They got rid of him too late. So some of the blame does stem from him, why Arsenal have been inconsistent and that. But a lot of the blame did obviously stem from Unai Emery, because he was tactically naive. His team selections and that were wrong, and he just wasn't exceeding expectation levels at Arsenal. Obviously Arsenal have also got to improve on their recruitment. Their recruitment's been poor for several years. I'm analysing it, they have got a good team of Arsenal. They've got Aubameyang and Lacazette. They complement each other very, very well. When they are in scintillating form, they can score good goals. Ozil, I think a lot of Arsenal fans now do feel as though that he has passed his sell-by date. At the time, Arsenal got rid of Sanchez. They do believe they should have got rid of Ozil over Sanchez. So from an Arsenal perspective, they should have kept Sanchez. They've got Xhaka. He's had some problems early on in the season with I think, with him throwing the captaincy and that, but can play well. They've got Nicolas Pepe. He's, rejuvenated himself recently. Enjoyed a difficult start to the season. They've got likes of Guendouzi. But Arsenal, I think, have got to address their defensive deficiencies because they can show good attacking intent. But I think defensively they are totally comparison because they do leak a lot of goals. But obviously Arsenal are sitting 10th in the league. They've registered 22 points from 17 league games this season, and we know that's nowhere near good enough to their standards. And that, like I said, Arsenal used to be one of the best teams, back in, the old generation under Arsene Wenger. Obviously, when they had the likes of Henry, Lundberg, Perez, Vieira and that, Arsenal were fantastic, and they are the only team to be unbeaten in one season in the Premier League era and that. Obviously they are the record holders of the FA Cup. They have won the FA Cup 13 times. But I think from an Arsenal perspective, it's very imperative that they, either, win the Europa League this season so they can progress to the Champions League, or obviously, finish in that top four. And I'm actually, very sceptical, that Arsenal are going to get that top four. But of course, Mikel Arteta, will be making plans for January. I think he'll have quite a few players on his agenda. I do believe he'll also, orchestrate on, getting rid of more players at Arsenal. I think probably Arsenal need to get rid of another 4 or 5 more players. But it'd be interesting, to see, how Mikel Arteta does in that. So now they have got their new manager, don't forget Carlo Ancelotti was on Arsenal's agenda at one point. Obviously, Arsenal had some, reservations about recommending him in. But instead, obviously, we know that Ancelotti is going to Everton. That's not been officially announced as yet. I know it said from Sky Sports earlier on this week that, his appointment was expected to be announced either today or yesterday, but obviously, that hasn't been the case. Everton do play Arsenal tomorrow at Goodison Park. I think it's confirmed that Duncan Ferguson, will still be in charge for that game. And then on Monday of next week, Carlo Ancelotti will start work. I think Ancelotti is expected to sign his contract, today. It is a 4.5 year deal, which will take him under contract with Everton until 2024. And he's set to earn around £11.5 million pounds a year. Obviously, he's been persistently in talks with Everton, this week as Ancelotti. He begun talks with them on Monday because he travelled to Merseyside, regarding the managerial role at Everton and that. I think Duncan Ferguson is keen on staying at Everton. I think, he wants to work alongside, Carlo Ancelotti. I think also Carlo Ancelotti recently revealed that, he wants his son as one of the assistants at Everton. But Duncan Ferguson did confirm that, he's not too keen on taking, the Everton job on a permanent basis and that. But I think since Everton recommended Duncan Ferguson in on an interim basis, they've done quite well. Obviously, they showed good determination to come back in the Leicester game. There was 2-0 down, but obviously lost on penalties. Obviously they drew with us at Old Trafford. They beat Chelsea 3-1 the other week. But Everton have obviously enjoyed them really difficult start. What? All right. Yeah. 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 But like I said, Everton have enjoyed really difficult start to the season. But obviously Ancelotti is their replacement for Marco Silva, who was sacked earlier on this month and that. But I think probably Ancelotti, will elevate Everton forward. Like I said, he's one of the most decorated managers of all time and that. And I think probably at Everton he can replicate, what he did there with Chelsea. because he did well at Chelsea. You know, he won the Premier League and the FA Cup in his first season with Chelsea. I don't forget, or was it the League Cup? I think it was a match. You know, the FA Cup. But he's managed a variety of clubs as Ancelotti. You know, obviously when he was a lot younger, you know, when he was a lot younger, you know, he managed in Italy. You know, he started his managerial career in Italy. You know, with Juventus, Parma, you know, AC Milan. You know, he was at AC Milan for several years. Then obviously, you know, managed Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, PSG and that. Obviously, you know, he's won 3 Champions League titles as well. He also won titles in Germany, France and Italy. But in total, he has won around 15 major honours as Ancelotti. Obviously, you know, not Tuesday just gone, but the Tuesday before that, Ancelotti was sacked by Napoli, despite the fact that Napoli had progressed to knockout stages of the Champions League by beating Genk by 4 goals to 0. So yeah, Ancelotti, I think, you know, appointment, you know, should be officially announced over the weekend or on Monday. Yeah. So that's you know, obviously, you know, something to confirm with you guys. But yeah, I think a lot of Everton fans, you know, will be delighted, you know, with Carlo Ancelotti. You know, maybe, you know, for us, he did, you know, do you think he'd have been a good replacement for Ole Gunnar Solskjaer at Man United? But he is now 60 years of age as Ancelotti, so he is knocking on. But you've just got to say he has got a really good pedigree behind him, you know. But yeah, so just wanted to confirm with that with you guys. I've been reading reports as well about Ibrahimovic, and it actually said that Zlatan Ibrahimovic could join Everton. That could actually, you know, be Carlo Ancelotti's first signing at Everton. You know, don't forget, you know, Zlatan Ibrahimovic played for us. You know, obviously, you know, he was a very, very good player. I think is he around what, 35, 36 now, Zlatan Ibrahimovic? You know, obviously, you know, reflects on, you know, the serious injury, you know, that he sustained, you know, when he was at Man United. Obviously, you know, that affected his Manchester United career. But yeah, he's in his mid-30s now. He's Zlatan Ibrahimovic. I think I can't remember the team he's been at. He was at LA Galaxy, something like that. He's been at, you know, he's been at a variety of clubs as Ibrahimovic, you know, during his career. You know, he's been at Milan, he's been at Barcelona. I think he's been quite a few other clubs as well, but I can't remember them all. But yeah, he could be Carlo Ancelotti's first signing. But yeah, so that's the latest news to update you with. There will be more videos coming up tomorrow, guys. There will be more videos coming up on this channel as always. You know, I'm going to give you some latest news regarding the transfers and that. Obviously today I've done my preview for the Watford Man United game. I also give my reaction to Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's press conference and that. But it's very imperative that we do beat Watford on Sunday, because obviously, you know, we do want to get back to winning ways in the Premier League. We obviously dropped 2 points against Everton last week. Obviously, rejuvenated ourselves, you know, because we had a good win against Colchester midweek, beating them by 3 goals to 0. And obviously, Solskjaer made a variety of changes in that game. Obviously, you know, rested quite a few key players in that, you know. Obviously, because Watford is on the horizon. But yeah, I'm pretty confident, you know, that we can win the game. We have to win anyway as well to keep our hopes up for that top 4, because I think it's very imperative that we're finishing the top 4 so we can obviously, you know, progress into the Champions League. And, you know, obviously there's 2 routes of us getting into the Champions League, you know, either finishing in the top 4 or, of course, winning the Europa League and that. And, you know, I think, you know, the best chance we've got of winning this silverware this season is obviously, you know, winning the Carabao Cup. I think that's the more imminent than us, you know, winning the Europa League and that. And we are into the semi-finals of the competition. We, of course, have drawn Manchester City, and, you know, that's going to be an extremely difficult game. Like I said, you know, we played them at Old Trafford on the 7th of January, and then we played them at the Etihad on the 28th of January. I think the winners of that anywhere will win the Carabao Cup. But don't forget, Solskjaer, you know, was recently, you know, he recently spoken about, the importance of us lifting silverware, because, we have lacked silverware in the last 6 or 7 years. But like I said, overall, we are still in that top 4 race. We're only 4 points behind top 4. We beat Watford on Sunday. We are just 1 point behind. Because I think Chelsea go away to Tottenham, and they do play after us on Sunday. I know I fully disregarded the top 4 recently. I did fully disregard it, because it was looking very unlikely we was going to get it, and I was sceptical we was going to get it. But now, we are still in the race. But I did confirm at the start of this season anyway that our expectations this season will be to finish in that top 4, and all that. But yeah, so like I said, Watford, they've enjoyed a really difficult start to the season. It's obvious, they're facing a relegation battle. They've only registered 9 points of a possible 17 so far this season. They've only won one game so far this season. And Watford, of course, have just recently recommended their 3rd manager of the season in. They got Nigel Pearson in, because Watford recently sacked Sanchez Flores after, less than 3 months in charge. And, Watford did well against Liverpool last week, despite the fact that they lost 2-0. Watford dominated that a large periods of that game, and, they created some decent opportunities. So if that had been a better team, then maybe, Liverpool, all right, could have had their problems. But I thought as the game went on, Liverpool, resolved the issues, basically. They've got the quality of Liverpool anyway, even if they're not playing to their potential best. But probably Watford, will give us a good game. We've obviously, got a good record against Watford, like I said. In the Premier League era, there's been 12 encounters between the two sides. We've obviously won 11. We've only suffered 1 defeat. And that 1 defeat came back in 2016, when we lost 3-1 at Vicarage Road. But taking into account, Watford have had quite a few injuries this season. And they've also got some good players in their team. They've got Troy Deeney, who's obviously been injured. He can obviously score goals for them. They've got Dale Feu, they've got Decore, they've got Will Hughes, they've got Tom Cleverley, who of course is a former Manchester United player. So they can show good attacking intent, but they are defensively very, very poor. But I do believe, we're going to have too much quality for them. Solskjaer, has given us some news regarding Pogba, Bailly, Fosu Mensah, and Diego Dalot during the press conference, and that obviously he reacted to the speculation regarding Erling Haaland. Pogba's not going to be playing against Watford on Sunday. Solskjaer did reveal he's in training, but he hasn't been training for long, because it revealed earlier on this week that Paul Pogba obviously and he had an illness in that. I think this was... I do! This was a couple of days after he attended his brother's wedding and that in France. When he sustained this illness. He has initially recovered from his ankle injury, because he was out with an ankle injury for around 3 months. Was probably well over 3 months. So he hasn't been in action, since September. But Solskjaer was asked during the press conference, does he understand the interest around Paul Pogba? And he says, yeah, because obviously he's a fantastic player. He's charismatic, he's got charismatic personality and that. And he's obviously, defended Paul Pogba's professionalism. But Solskjaer does know how much of an imperative player he is. Solskjaer's also confirmed as well that he will not be sold in January. I still believe Paul Pogba is orchestrating on leaving the football club. Don't forget, recent reports were saying yesterday that our Hirose and our players are actually convinced that Paul Pogba has played his last game in a Manchester United shirt, but he will not be playing against Watford. But he has been big miss in that midfield, and he was expected to return to training this week, right at the beginning of this week, but obviously due to this illness, obviously it hasn't happened. Pogba should be back either for the Newcastle game on Boxing Day or the Burnley game on the 28th. But Solskjaer is definitely hopeful that he will be back before the end of the year. We've had some good news regarding Diego Dalot. Diego Dalot, Solskjaer's confirmed that he's playing in tonight's game for the youngsters and that, and he said, from there on, he will be fine with Dalot. He should be ready. And Bay and Fossil Mensu are out for a bit longer. Bay's been out of an knee injury since pre-season. Fossil Mensu has been out of a knee injury, and obviously, recently players have come back from injury. But you've got to say we've had a lot of injuries this season. That hasn't been accountable, for our bad performances and that. But we have had a lot of injuries. But I do expect us, against Watford to stick with the 4-2-3-1 formation, because Solskjaer's been going with that formation on a regular basis this season. A couple of times he's tried a few, different formations. He's gone like 3 at the back in a couple of games. On the odd occasion, he's gone there with a 4-3-3. And I've said, for the vast majority of this season, we've been tactically naive. In some games, we have showed some tactical flexibility in that. But I expect Bissaka, Lindelof, McTominay and Fred and Daniel James all to be playing on Sunday, because they were all rested in the 3-0 win against Colchester and that. And we are unbeaten in our last 6 games in all competitions, so we're looking to extend our unbeaten run. But I'm not going to take nothing for granted, because we haven't done really well against low opposition this season. We've drawn a lot of games this season. I think the vast majority of them games we've drawn, we should have actually, turned into wins. But it's been totally comparison against elite opposition, because we've actually, done really, really well against elite opposition this season. So you can take that into account as a positive in that. But we've got to start doing it more against lower opposition. But games are coming up thick and fast. Like I said, Watford Sunday, Newcastle on Boxing Day, Burnley on the 28th. Big game on New Year's Day against Arsenal. That's going to be an extremely difficult game. Wolves is coming up in the FA Cup. City's obviously coming up in the first leg of the Carabao Cup. Then obviously, I think Liverpool's coming up on the 19th. So we've got to get some wins, behind us if you want to keep that pressure and that top 4. But yeah, we're making plans for next year. We know obviously more investment is needed into the squad and that, and yeah, we've got a lot of players on our agenda, because it's very imperative next year that we do get the right calibre players to Man United, and obviously we've got to address the deficiencies in the squad. But it isn't long now till the January window opens. Solskjaer has obviously no comfort. Well, he did say that it's not guaranteed we'll make any signings in January, but he's looking to bring 2 or 3 signings, in January and that. But we'll see who we can recommend in. So we're going to obviously focus on the incomings. I think we also need to focus on the outgoings next year, because I still believe there is problematic players at the football club that do need to be moved on, But yeah. So, the main part of this video was to give you the news regarding Mikel Arteta and that, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very soon. Thanks for watching.